Good morning, Atlanta. This is Danny Broadway with Everything Atlanta, your radio show to learn more about Atlanta, always being hosted with Matt Gardner.
Yes, Happy New Year, everybody, and glad to be here, glad to be back into the swing of things. And
we got a gentleman here today. His name is Noah McNeely, and Noah is the president and CEO, and I believe the guy who thought the whole idea up of Slingshot. They are located over on Corporate Lakes Parkway in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And Noah, we'd like to welcome you to the show today.
Well, thank you, and good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning. So, we bumped into Noah through one of his esteemed colleagues. I believe they have over 30 people that make Slingshot turn every day. Tell us a little bit, I guess, give us the overview, and then we'll go in depth with what you guys do. Give us kind of the overview of what's going on at Slingshot.
Well, sure. And as you mentioned, I'm the president and CEO. I'm one of the founders. We actually have two other founders that were involved as well. But what we do, we work with clients big and small to help them take ideas, maybe their technologies, maybe their opportunities to get into new marketplaces and convert those into product businesses. So we work through design, we work through idea development, we work through prototyping, engineering, pilot production, and full-scale manufacturing to go from a blank sheet of paper all the way to the point where a product is ready to ship to retailers or to wherever it's going to go.
Wow, very neat, very neat. Now, I've heard you guys have what's called, or I think termed as a disruptive business model. When you compare it to other product development firms, tell us about that. Talk about that collaborative process.
Well, a few things about us that are different. Number one, we do provide a very complete service. One of the things that we learned many years ago is that just pure engineering and pure design, there are a lot of companies out there that do that in the product development space. So we had a lot of competition in that space, and so long as we stayed there, we were going to be fairly small, and our reach was going to be fairly limited. So about 6 years ago, in response to some needs we saw with our clients and to really expand what we do and to really have some key differentiators, we added a science R&D element to what we do. So now we go very deep, not only in designing a product to meet engineering specifications and to be the right color, to be the right fit, to be something that people want to buy and take home with them. We actually can go into the technology development. So we might work on a chemical formulation. We might work on a new material,
wow,
a new composite material. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, pretty different. That's not something.
And that's pretty deep R&D. And I guess a small startup, obviously we're not having an R&D department yet, so you are that for a while, maybe forever or until they can bring in their own, or how does that work?
Yeah, it depends on the client, depends on what they want to do. A small startup company, they might have an exit plan of they want to get the product developed to a point, then sell it off, and we may or may not be involved after that. It just depends on the long-term goal. Some startups want to build a business and keep that business going for a long time. We might be their partner for a long time. One of the keys is that startup mentality. We do science R&D from the standpoint of, and design and engineering from the standpoint of the business case. We want to get that product on the market. We don't want to be stuck in the laboratory for years. We want to make sure that product gets out there and makes some more money so we can work on the next product. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of companies that do R&D out there in the world, and sometimes their goal is to just do more and more R&D. It's what they're good at. It's what they do well. Our goal is to build a product business and to make sure that business is successful. So we look at the marketing and the various other aspects, and we look at the viability of that program before we'll engage in it.
Let me ask you to to kind of bring all this together, and I think this is neat. I know where you're going here. And I don't know how openly you can talk about clients. You may have to disguise names to hide the innocent or whatever.
Sure.
But think of one person maybe that you're allowed to talk about, that you can say, hey, this guy walked through my front door. This lady walked through my front door. She had this dream. this was stage 1, this was stage 2, stage 100, however many stages you have in this process. Can you walk us through maybe in 3 minutes what one client looked like, or an example of what you do where we can really put it in our brain who you're looking to get a hold of today?
Yeah, I mean, I can try to do that. We've been in business 12 years, so we've had thousands of different clients. That's everyone from really big companies like Black & Decker and Coca-Cola to medium-sized companies and technology startups out of universities. But we also do work with inventors and people that just have great ideas, and they need help turning those into businesses. Let me think of a good example.
Yeah,
here.
and I guess one example would be the small guy. But then again, like you just said, I didn't think there are the Coca-Colas, and they walk through the door and they go, we have one of our 3 billion product lines, and we want, we see your talent's more suited to do that. So at that point, Coca-Cola is almost outsourcing, right? Pretty much.
That's right.
Instead of bringing that in-house. So the person who walks through the door could be, again, John the inventor, or it could be Coca-Cola with an outsourced opportunity for a singular project, I guess.
Let me take a couple examples.
Okay.
Let me do the startup inventor first. And again, to protect the innocent and the guilty, I won't list any specifics. But we had a gentleman that had a great idea for the restaurant industry. This is someone we've been working with over the past couple of years. It's a great idea. It's actually a safety product for the restaurant industry, projected to prevent tens of thousands of injuries every year once this thing hits the market, and it's a big deal. You have
Sure.
product liability, you have you have insurance, you have other things you have to worry about. So if you can prevent people in your restaurant from injuring themselves, that's a pretty big deal. So he had the idea. He had developed a prototype in his garage, great prototype for that level of development, but he was really stuck. He didn't know where to go from there. He didn't know how to make it a product that could be manufactured. So he's been working with us. We developed the product, redeveloped the product from his original idea into something that can be produced at a reasonable price, that meets the market goals, that can actually be mass produced. And we're helping him build his presentation to raise that next level of investor funding. So that's one example of what we might do. We might not be at the point where we're launching the product into the marketplace every time. Sometimes we have to take these things in steps, especially when you have a small company that has to go out and raise its capital. So in that case, we really focused on getting it to the point where it could raise capital. Another example, we had a company we worked with, came out of a technology that was developed at the university here in Georgia. That technology was fantastic as a technology, but then the question became, what do you do with it? How do you turn this into a business?
A usable product.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, not just a usable product, but a product that is usable for the user, but also works in the marketplace with the right price points. How do you get it out of that university laboratory and into the hands of the public, or in this case, it's a medical device? Mm-hmm. So we worked with that company. They were already somewhat funded, and we had to work with them. They didn't have an internal engineering team. They didn't have an internal design team. They certainly didn't have a sourcing team. So we became that for them, and we've helped them get to their trade show. They did very well at the trade show, actually won an award at their trade show.
Wow.
And now they're in the process of spinning that company off into a major player.
And that's really exciting, because our show is comprised of a lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of people who listen to the show and download the show are entrepreneurs, and it's kind of like you get to. Instead of like Matt and I, we developed a online product with Yepser. Mm-hmm. You guys get to do it again and again, and I mean that's so exciting to me as an entrepreneur to think that. You would get to work with people over multiple, different products and opportunities to develop these ideas. And I guess sometimes it means, hey, we're going to go to somewhere Alabama, and we're going to pour a slab, and we're going to start developing it there because Alabama gives you this tax break and this opportunity. Sure. And that. Sometimes it's, hey, I got a contact in China. It's cheaper to build it there, and we'll ship it in, and we'll do this and that. And man, that's fun stuff.
One question I have is how does the person, the individual, forget the Coca-Colas and the GEs of the world, because they have funds that they can get their hands on. Let's say Danny and I come to you and say, look, we've got the next best idea for the tailgating market, and we're going to kill it, and it's going to be wonderful. However, between the two of us, we have no money. Okay. We know it's going to take $100,000 and $200,000 and $300,000 to make this thing come true. In today's economy, in today's world, where are people who, like us, a person, where are they going to get funding? My guess would be a bank would be like, sorry, but maybe there's an investor group that you guys make introductions to, or there's people out there who will give money for ideas for percentage of the company. I mean, how does the funding opportunity work for individuals?
Well, that's actually one of the most difficult things to get funded. If you come out of a situation where you have a really a nice high tech medical technology or something like that, and you need $1 million, you need a couple $1 million. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's almost easier to fund through VC or venture capital and through organizations that are really looking for those really big hits. And they'll look at that and they'll say, "Oh, we put $1 million in. We know we're going to get $10 million out in so many years." But in this case, you're talking about something that's maybe it's not a $10 million opportunity. It might be a situation where the margin of return is similar. Maybe you're taking that $100,000 and it's going to be $1 million company in a couple of years, but that's a little small for VC companies to look at. Right. Typically, there are exceptions to every rule. In those cases, there's a couple things that people do. You look for angel investors, and there's certainly groups of angel investors around the city. You look for friends and family investors. You look for sweat equity. You look for people that are willing to help contribute to that in exchange for a piece of it. One of the interesting things that's come along in the last few years is crowdfunding. You've probably heard of Kickstarter and other organizations like that.
Yeah.
And it has its challenges as well. I mean, you have to have a product or an idea that's you've already prototyped. You've got something that's demonstrable, something that the public is really going to want. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it's a really good way to test your idea before you spend a lot of money on it. The advice I give people in your situation or in the hypothetical situation, mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys really have a tailgating idea, but everyone I meet has an idea on some level. It's just part of the conversations I tend to have with people.
Sure.
But in that case, the advice I give people is use someone else's money. If your idea is really that great, if you can convey it that well, there's people out there that can afford to invest in it more than you can. And if you can't get at least one of those people on board, then maybe you need to rethink what you're doing.
And you would help somebody walk through that. You would know what they do need to give up to get that amount of money and what is fair. And I guess some of it's even, to me, is if you've never done that before, you don't know what you are. Hey, what should I give up based on a guy's going to give me $1 million? How much of my concept do I have to hand to him for that money? And that type of thing.
And most inventors are fairly unreal. Well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of inventors are fairly unrealistic about that. They think, I'll give away 5%, someone will give me $1 million. Right. And that's the truth of the matter is an idea is not worth anything. It's what you do with that idea that makes it valuable. Mm-hmm. I would say the more valuable thing we provide to people in that situation is that we know how much it's going to cost to make this thing. We do have the feet on the ground in Asia and of course domestically. And, we know what it's going to cost to put a supply chain together. We know all the hurdles that they're going to face financially down the road, both the cost to develop it, but also the cost of building the tooling or the manufacturing facility or hiring that out and building inventory. And it's a lot more than people typically think when they come into that. So they'll go and even on Kickstarter and some of these crowdfunding sites, they'll go and they'll ask for a certain amount of money. And I look at those and I say, they've not asked for nearly enough money to get this thing out there.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys do as far as, do you keep in-house legal? Do you have a lawyer on staff for patents and trademarks? And I guess that comes up too, right, in the middle of all this?
Certainly, and we absolutely do not have a lawyer on staff, nor do we want to have a lawyer on staff.
Okay.
We have a number of patent attorneys that we work with and we're very comfortable with, but we don't provide legal advice. We're not lawyers, and we provide opinions, and from our perspective as product developers and manufacturers and scientists and engineers, but legal advice is a whole different realm.
Well, what do you look for in a team member when you're out there and you're recruiting the next Slingshotter? We call them yep turns, and we put all kind of fun words on with our staff. But what are you looking for? What type of people do you recruit?
Typically, the people that do well at Slingshot are people that were not particularly satisfied with the job description of their profession. Mm-hmm. So we look for people that have multiple disciplines in their background, either actually educationally or just experience-wise. I myself, I'm actually degreed engineer and a degreed designer. So I know the artistic side, and I know the mathematics side. But a lot of our best people, like our head scientist, he's also a really good business guy. He's got that experience. He doesn't want to just do what a scientist does. He wants to do something else. Head of engineering operations, he has an eye for creativity and artistic license, and that's important for us. We look for people that are themselves diverse in their experiences, because then we can have better ideas at Slingshot. We have a diverse team. We have a lot of different viewpoints represented, but sometimes many of us wear many hats, and that's important to the innovation work that we do.
That's awesome. And so with that, I was going to say, with wearing the many hats, I mean, how do you keep control? I mean, you're CEO and you're engineer and how do you keep all that together? What do you do to try to organize that?
It can be a challenge. Sometimes it's a situation where the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I have to work on whatever element of the business needs the most attention at that particular day. But generally, we do have a process, and we do have a very large team for what we do, so we can cover the court pretty well. We do have people that are specialized in different areas, like the manufacturing or the science or the engineering or the design. So they tend to stay pretty busy. But then we do have a number of people that can play multiple roles, and that's key to covering everything.
And so when you're working with that person and you're kind of, since you do take it all the way to the manufacturing, when and how do you make those decisions of should they go it alone, should they go it with you? What comes into play when you're making that decision?
Well, we can't make that decision for our clients. What we can do is we advise them the best we can. Going it alone is almost never a good idea in my experience, especially for an inventor or a startup. That's really a tough row to hoe. I mean, some people do it and they do well, but you have to bear in mind all the things that are necessary to get into retail or to build distribution, et cetera. These are all things we can help with, but there are a lot of people that have already done that and done quite well. So my advice is if you can partner up with a company that's already got distribution in drugstores or wherever it is you want to go, that is, even though you're going to get a smaller percentage at the end of the day, that's going to be a smaller percentage of a much bigger pie. So we try to help our clients understand that finding the right partners is going to be key. Now, of course, a bigger company like a Black & Decker or an Arm & Hammer, they've got all those. They've got that infrastructure in place. They don't necessarily need that. But a small company really needs an Arm & Hammer, or they need a Black & Decker, or someone doesn't necessarily have to be a household name, but they need somebody typically.
Well, what's your background? How did you get into this world? I mean, this is not something that I would think you go to school and kind of study and enter from the job market from college. I mean, how did you get involved in this world?
Well,
was there like an initial product that you came up with, and you went through the nightmare, and you're like, hey, I could help other people go through this now that I understand.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we came up with our concept.
Yeah.
We saw the pain out there of people trying to use the internet to grow their business, and fortunately for us, it was easy. And so we took what was easy to us and made it as a service to others. So how did you wiggle your way in here?
Well, let me answer that a couple of different ways. From the standpoint of the company, we did very much as you've done. We noticed problems that we solved for clients over the years, and we realized a lot of people had these bigger problems. Like innovate me a supply chain. First client had that problem. We realized, okay, there's a lot of clients that have this problem, and that became part of our business. In terms of me personally, I studied mechanical engineering down at Georgia Tech, worked at General Electric for a little while, really enjoyed that, but want to go back and do something a little bit more creative than just your mainstream engineering. So I went back to school, studied product design, industrial design down at Georgia Tech as well. Started doing some consulting on the side. Actually did my own small business when I was in grad school, just doing design work. Really loved it and decided, I really like working with a lot of different clients. I don't want to be locked into one industry permanently. I want to be able to work with as many different clients as I can. So I met the founder of Slingshot, the original founder, and joined him as his first employee, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's great. So did you know him before you met him, or was
No.
it just kind of a coffee and minds melding? And
we met in a way they say never really works.
Okay.
He had posted online that he was starting a new company and had a job opening, and I responded to that and my background being diverse and our personalities just sort of clicked in the right way, and we decided it was a good fit, and
That's cool.
Went from there.
That's great, man. I love seeing that good partnerships come together because it's hard. It's not easy it's like a marriage. Matt and I talk about it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The chemistry in a business is very important, and that's one of the things that's very important to our team is that. We have a lot of disagreements, we have a lot of arguments, but they're all productive, and they're there for a purpose. Because we put, you put a designer, an engineer, a scientist, and a manufacturer together, they're all going to come at things from different directions. They're all going to have different needs that need to be met, and we argue through those needs, and then we end up with better solutions when we're done.
I like the way you just say it is an argument, but it's a positive argument.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Well, I definitely want to, I guess, do the plug segment, for all of our listeners out there who have had an idea or a concept. I mean, I guess you have a 30-second elevator pitch. Give that to us. I mean, how do they reach you? What's the best way to get engaged? Who are you?
Sure.
Kind of that 30-second elevator pitch.
Well, probably the best way to find us is on our website. That's slingshotpdg.com. That's as in Slingshot Product Development Group. But the reason to work with us is we want to build your business. We want to build a product business with you. And then, this applies to big companies or startups or inventors. I mean, we're not in this for the sake of you just giving you a pretty product because we want to. We want to help you actually look at the dynamics of your business model, make sure it's going to work, and want to help build all that for you from design and development through manufacturing and get it all the way out there on the market.
Fantastic. Well, no, I really appreciate your time today. I think I've learned a lot about that, and even being involved in the Mart, I've seen some products kind of come through development and get there, but nothing as intense as what you guys would handle. It's kind of like a next level, especially like you said, taking it all the way into manufacturing and getting that type of thing. So it's a lot of work, man. We'll be thinking about you.
It is. We do everything from electronics to clothespins.
Yeah.
So it's
wow.
Every day is different.
That's wow. Well, everybody out there, just so that you have the information, Noah's phone number and the team over there. I don't know whether they should reach out to you or Holly or who the inbound call. What name should they ask for if they want to touch base with you guys?
Holly's probably the best one.
Holly. Okay. So give Slingshot a call. The office number is 770-807-7223. And again, Holly Harper is a great point of contact. She's at 1211 extension, again at 770-807-7223. But again, if you just want to get a feel for these guys, they've got a great website. It's slingshotpdg.com. That's just slingshotpdg.com. And we really appreciate it, Noah. What a great way to start our new year and our first show of this year. And what Matt and I truly love, and that's entrepreneurs and new ideas and concepts. And speaking of that, Matt, what do you have for us on the internet this year?
Speaking of good ideas
Yeah.
and getting good ideas put in place, there's this thing out there called the internet. It is a great idea.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, this Al Gore guy was on to something when he might have used Slingshot to kind of get the internet out.
Did
there.
Al Gore start the internet with you guys?
Or did y'all help him?
We have no connection with Al Gore.
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if y'all supply chain help or whatever with him, but what Al did is he put together this thing called the internet, and the internet is a tremendous way to market your business. Which I'm being funny, but at the end of the day, 2013 is here, and you probably set some goals for your business. How am I going to generate more leads? How am I going to brand my company? Where do I want to brand it? How do I want people to find me? Well, the good thing about that is that over here at Yepser, we've come up with a pretty interesting strategy as we head into 2013. And we're kind of going back to our roots of building a brand for your business on the internet, and at the same time generating leads for your business through online marketing. It's kind of the best of both worlds that what we offer. We do build websites, and we do a wonderful job of that, but the other 2/3 of our business is the social media management, which we are coming into our 5th year of doing that. It's hard to believe that social media has been around that long, and so have we. So the second piece is the social media management, and that third piece is that traditional internet marketing piece. When somebody sits down and they're looking for somebody to help them with an idea, and they are type in "help me with my idea," and a company like Slingshot were to come up on the search engine result page, that is another piece of our puzzle and what we do. So what we've done is we've combined those two elements into a package that we're excited about, and now have an opportunity to go out there and offer this internet strategy package is kind of what we've boiled it down to. And again, we're excited. Yepser turned 4 years old last week, and we're heading into our 5th year here in the Atlanta market, and we're excited about it, and would love an opportunity with anybody listening that's got a business and is looking for a way to grow it, a way to get more exposure, a way to get more people to your website to see your wonderful idea and to be part of your wonderful idea, whether it's a product or a service. So give us a call at Yepser. You can always reach us online at yepscr.com. Both myself, Matt, and Danny are more than happy to come out, shake hands with you, sit down, and kind of figure out what's the best way for you to get the most out of a marketing budget this year. The neat thing about the internet is that you don't have to put your entire marketing budget there. You can still use traditional ways of direct mail pieces or billboards or radio or TV, and then you can augment your marketing budget through a plan of internet marketing. And the results can usually be tenfold that of the traditional ways to go out there and market your business. So love an opportunity to come see you, and excited about 2013 here, Danny. And what else? Chris, what's the biggest idea you've got that you've been keeping a secret for 40 years?
What's for lunch?
If there's an app for that, I guess.
Yeah, there is an app for that. But no, thank you very much, Matt. Thank you for our social media /internet moment, as we always bring that to you. And appreciate you taking the time as we do bring in the new year to let our audience know that that we have redesigned some of our opportunities to be even more specific to lead generation, to developing your concept online and driving people to get engaged with you about that. So really excited about this year with Yepser, and always excited to hear the weekly social media and internet moment from you, Matt. So, wow, what a great show to start the year. I mean, to start the year on hey, let's get excited about some good ideas. Let's find a guy who can go out there and make them happen, and find a guy like Matt Gardner who can promote them.
We got the wheels, man.
Yeah, we got everybody here.
We got open chairs in here. Come sit down and get famous.
Bar the door until we make some money in this room, buddy. I tell you. So, fantastic. And Matt, any closing thoughts here on the show today?
No, absolutely not. Just again, appreciate Noah your time today, and we'll be broadcasting this in several repeats forms throughout the internet on our Everything Atlanta channel. So remember, Atlanta, you don't know anything Atlanta till you've listened to Everything Atlanta every Monday at noon here on Business Radio X.